The night I found out my wife never loved me, I was sitting alone in my office, staring at a balance sheet that proved my entire life had been a lie. By the time the sun came up, my company was gone, my marriage was over, and I realized I had been the mark in the most personal crime imaginable. My name is Daniel Harper, and for most of my adult life, I believed hard work could protect you from anything. I built my software company from a one-bedroom apartment, surviving on instant noodles, borrowed Wi-Fi, and blind faith. By 36, I had 60 employees, loyal clients, and a reputation for being ethical in an industry that wasn't known for it. I didn't just run the company, I was the company. Then I met Emily. She spilled her coffee on my jacket at a hotel bar in Seattle during a tech conference. She laughed, apologized too much, and insisted on paying for dry cleaning. We talked for hours. She wasn't impressed by money or titles, or at least she pretended not to be. She asked about my childhood, my failures, the nights I almost quit. When she listened, she really listened. I remember thinking, this is what safety feels like. Our relationship moved fast. Too fast, in hindsight. She told me she'd been hurt before, that she wanted something real. I told her I'd spent my life building systems and companies, but not relationships. We filled in each other's gaps perfectly, or so I thought. When she suggested marriage after a year, my friends raised eyebrows. My lawyer quietly suggested a prenup. Emily cried when I mentioned it. Not theatrically, softly, convincingly. She said it made her feel like a temporary employee in my life. I hated the idea of hurting her, and I hated even more the idea of becoming the kind of man who let fear sabotage love. So I didn't push it. The first year of marriage was incredible. Emily took an interest in the business, asked smart questions, and helped modernize our branding. She said she wanted to build something together. I put her on payroll as a consultant, then as a strategy director. My board approved it. She was charismatic, articulate, and seemed genuinely invested. The financial tension started quietly. She convinced me to expand faster than planned, to take on debt, to trust new investors she introduced through her network. She said risk was necessary for growth. When I hesitated, she framed it as fear holding us back. I trusted her judgment the way you trust someone who knows your passwords. Your scars, your worst moments. I didn't notice when she started isolating me. She said my longtime CFO was old school and resistant to innovation. She hinted that my co-founder resented my success. She positioned herself as the only one fully on my side. Looking back, it was a textbook manipulation, but when love is involved, textbooks don't mean much. The first real crack appeared the night I was arrested, not handcuffed, not dramatic, just escorted out of my own office by federal agents asking questions about wire fraud and misrepresentation. I was confused, humiliated, terrified. Emily didn't answer her phone. By the time she called back, she was crying, asking what I had done. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Over the next weeks, I learned my company accounts had been used to move money offshore. Contracts bore my digital signature, perfectly replicated. Compliance failures pointed directly at decisions I supposedly made. Investors pulled out. Clients froze projects. My board voted me out temporarily to protect the company. Emily stayed distant. Cold. She said she needed space to process the shock. I slept on the couch while lawyers drained my savings. Then came the twist, the one that still makes my hands shake. My former CFO, the one Emily had pushed out, contacted me. He'd noticed anomalies months earlier and quietly saved copies. He believed I was being framed. When we traced the access logs, the pattern was clear. The transactions came from a device registered to Emily, routed through internal permissions she'd requested and I'd approved without reading. My wife hadn't just betrayed me emotionally, she had engineered a financial crime using my trust as the weapon. When confronted, she didn't deny it. She didn't scream or cry. She smiled, a small, tired smile, and told me she never planned to fall in love with me. She'd married me to get close, to gain legitimacy, to access control. The investors she introduced? Shell entities. The offshore accounts? Hers. She said it like a confession without guilt. The worst part wasn't the money or the humiliation. It was realizing every intimate moment, every kiss, every whispered promise, had been a calculated step in a long con. Emily disappeared before charges could stick. International jurisdiction. Clean exit. I was cleared months later, but exoneration doesn't rebuild reputations. The company survived, barely, under new leadership. I walked away with nothing but legal debt and insomnia. It took years to trust anyone again. But here's what I learned, and why I'm telling this story. Love doesn't require blindness. Trust doesn't mean surrendering your judgment. And if someone asks you to ignore your instincts in the name of romance, they may not be asking for love, they may be asking for access. The lesson is simple, but painful. Never hand someone your life just because they promise not to break it.